Hello and welcome to the Education Show, brought to you today by the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, also known as CIMA. I'm Liz Spate. Now then, are you at college studying hard and making career decisions? Or maybe you're a parent of a son or daughter who is doing just that. Not yet sure where all that hard work might take you? Or maybe your kids are asking for career guidance and you aren't sure of all the answers. Well, don't panic, because help is at hand. Because today I'm joined by two people who are both enjoying successful careers in the world of business and finance. Dave Mack from Ford Motor Company. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Dave. And also Lindsay Slack from the investment bank Merrill Lynch. Welcome along, Lindsay. Great to see you both. Now, Lindsay and Dave are going to be talking us a little through their career paths and a little bit about careers advice for you and where to go next if you're thinking of getting into the world of finance. But remember that this is a live show and we're interactive, so if you've got a question for either of our guests, then do get them into us. All you have to do is to pop your name and your question in the box that's on the screen, press submit, and it'll come through to us here in the studio, and we'll try to get through as many as we can. But before we get on to your questions, let's talk to Dave and Lindsay a little bit about their career paths. So Dave, tell us about your career. How did you actually get started?
Okay, well, I actually graduated from university about 20 years ago.
Right.
I did a degree in aeronautical engineering.
Oh, right.
And I was looking for something that I could use to combine industry and finance, and that's when I started looking at courses involving CIMA. And I joined Ford Motor Company straight from university.
So you've been there a long time then, haven't you?
I have indeed. It's unusual these days, but long time career there.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit about what your job is now, if it's not too complicated.
I'm actually in a cross-functional role at the moment, really a business partner to the marketing and sales organisation and the IT organisation, together with a finance responsibility, developing and rolling out our new finance systems and our management information systems out to the organisation and maximising the revenue we get. Okay,
so you're very involved in the finance side of things.
Yeah.
Lindsay, on the other hand, you're sort of at the start of your career really at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're at Merrill Lynch studying, or you've just got your CIMA qualification, is that right?
Yes, I'm just past finalist, just past my final stage.
Well done. And how did you start out? And tell us a little bit about your career path and why you chose to go into finance.
Well, I think when I was at school, I did economics A-level, and I was quite interested in it, so I decided to do an economics degree. So
right.
I combined that with a finance as well, so I did business economics. And I also, whilst at university, I did a 4-year course, which had
right.
combined a sandwich course, which is where I went out into industry and did work experience for 1 year. So it was 2 6-month periods.
Right.
So I worked for 2 different banks at that time, and then following on from that, I joined an investment bank after when whet my appetite whilst I was at university. So went into the city once I finished university, and then started my CIMA qualification from there, really.
And that's quite a big deal, the CIMA qualification, isn't it? Tell us a little bit about that. You've just finished it,
yes. Yeah, no, it is hard work, and obviously you're working as well as combining your studies, but with a bit of dedication and hard work, it is well worth it, because you do have, once you've got it, you've got it for life. So you can do as little or as much as you want when you're working as well.
So you can pace yourself and stretch it out so that it suits you.
Yeah, definitely.
So Dave, Ford was actually CIMA's Employer of the Year for 2007, wasn't it? Why do you think continuing to learn at work is so important? How does that fit in with people's lives?
I think it's vital that you keep up to date with things as they're changing, but also you can continuously develop in many areas. I mean, Ford, as you say, we're Employer of the Year, but we're also a quality training partner and a development partner. So we don't just focus on getting people through their exams, it's their continuous professional development up and beyond that.
Right.
And whether you're CIMA qualified or any of the other areas, then that's a philosophy that we had in Ford.
So you're obviously looking to support candidates coming in, because if you're coming straight from school or university, it must be quite daunting joining a big company like Ford.
Yeah, I mean, finance in Ford in Europe is about 1,200 people, but the actual different departments are much smaller. And one of the things that we have is when people come in, whether they come in at the A-level point or from a degree, we've got both a buddy system, which is more for the, here's the canteen, here's how you find your way around, here's how you get from building A to building B, but also a true mentor, which is usually someone the level above you or a couple of levels above you, who they can use to talk if they've got things they don't feel they're doing the right job, or they want to have a slight change in career, they want to find more out about other functions within Ford. Because within Ford, if you think about what happens when you build a car, there's actually a huge amount of processes, right from the vehicle development side right the way through to the point of sale. So it gives you a very broad range of career options, even within the finance function.
Yeah. So finance obviously was for you, Lindsay. People might think it's a little bit boring though. Accountancy, not always everyone's cup of tea. Tell us why where you think people go for finance.
Well, I think if you do have an interest in sort of a mathematical and business side, I think finance is quite an interesting subject for you. But also because I think it's very versatile and you can work in any industry within a finance function. So although I work for an investment bank, you know, as I've got my SEMA now, it's very transferable into the corporate industry. Or
so you can go into anything really, because everybody needs an accountant. Everyone's got a finance department, so you could go and work in fashion or football or film or anything that interests you really.
Yeah, you can
once you've
definitely.
Got that qualification.
Yeah, once you've got that qualification, the wheel's your oyster.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about that qualification then. How does it actually work? The SEMA qualification. Once you get your job and you get up and running with it, how does it actually work?
Well, I actually was exempt from some of the exams. There's three levels. So there's the certificate, and then there's the managerial level and the strategic level. So I was exempt from a few exams for the certificate because of my degree.
So you'd already kind of done some of it.
Yeah, some of it, and then they do a strategic, a managerial level, which is intermediate finance and management accountancy, as well as management studies as well. So it combines both accountancy with business strategy. So it's very interesting. And then I think there's 6 exams in that level, and then there's 3 at the strategic, and finally you do your top SEMA paper, which is a case study paper. So.
Right. Pretty tough then. But well worth it in the end.
Definitely.
For life, as you say.
And now I can look back, you know, I've now just finished, so it's nice to think that I've got my weekends to myself.
Yeah, phew. Okay, well, let's move on to some of your questions. And we've got one in from John Ruback, and he wants to know, how does my daughter find the best course for accountancy? Can you recommend universities or colleges for me? So whereabouts did you go to, Lindsay?
I went to Brunel University, and the reason why I chose Brunel was because of their sandwich course. So it was a 4-year degree, and I was able to do work experience as well. So that was one of the main things for me. And I think, you know, it was a good environment. I liked the area that it was in, and the course was good. So I think it all depends on what you're looking for, you know, whether it's the course or if you want that combined placement as well.
And how would you go about choosing a university or college? Are there particular ones that have a reputation for accountancy or finance? Would you know that?
I'm not too sure actually, because my degree was business economics. So obviously the London School LSE is very good for economics. So you know that's kind of how I'd gauge it. But I think that you would be able to find out which are good in what areas from looking at the internet and prospectuses and things like that. Okay,
but it's not just all about going to university, Dave, is it? You take sort of school and college leavers as well, don't you?
Yeah, we actually run 2 schemes. One is we take on graduates, but we also run a scheme where we take people on who have got A-levels, which is the minimum requirement you need to start studying SEMA. And that's a 3 or 4 year programme, and depending on how quickly you go through the exams. But we provide, you know, day release to go off to college, and we actually do that at one of the sites very local to us. So it's a Ford specific lecturer with BPP who provide our tuition. Right. So it's a very stable process. I mean, we've been working with SEMA and BPP now for nearly 20 years. I was one of the first people to come through that
trailblazer,
that process. So you know, it is a lot of hard work, but when you get people coming in at the A-level stage, they're not necessarily building up some of the debt or things that they might have at university.
It's a cheaper way of doing it, actually, isn't it?
And you still get a professional qualification at the end of it, and it doesn't inhibit your career path in the future. You know, we've got people. Our European accounting director came through the management accounting trainee route, so you know we've got people at all levels in the company.
Yeah.
It's not seen as something that differentiates you once you've got your SEMA qualification.
So if you know you're wanting to go into finance and you're at A-level level, you don't necessarily have to go on to university, then you can go straight in.
No, I think Ford is fairly unique, and it's one of the few companies that does offer that as a sort of real structured programme. But about 40% of the people who we've got studying at the moment are studying through, they came in with A-levels, the remainder are with graduates. So that varies up and down over time, but you know, it gives you a good idea of how many we bring in.
Yeah, okay, well, that's useful. Now, Sarah from Essex had written in, and she wants to know, she says, my daughter's a little bit shy, so I'm not sure if the world of business will be kind to her. difficult question to answer, isn't it? I suppose it takes all types.
I think it does
Lizzie?
take all types, definitely, and I don't think whether you're an introvert or an extrovert should matter. I think whether you've got the confidence and the capability to work in a finance area, that's all that matters really. Different mixes of people, you know, for different types of teams, it works well. So,
and I suppose you can build up your confidence as you go along. I mean, a lot of people at 18, 21, they're not hugely confident, but
yeah, definitely, and you get more confident as you get familiar with your surroundings and with the subject that you're doing. So, you know, when you're working, you get a lot more familiar with the way you work and the way your company works. So I think it doesn't really matter whether you're shy or outgoing, as opposed to whether you've got a good grasp and, you know, you're confident enough to do the role.
As long as you can do the job.
Yeah.
Sorted. Okay. Now, Wendy Davis has written in and she wants to know, learning on the job sounds like a great idea, but does it mean you don't get any spare time? Lindsay, you're going to want to answer that.
I don't think... Well, yes and no, I think is the right answer to that, because you do have to be dedicated and you do have to do hard work to get your qualification. And, you know, I'm not going to lie, you do have to do some evening courses and weekends, and you do have to revise. But, you know, it isn't constantly revision and exams,
forever,
and it's not forever either. And as I said before, you can depends on how quickly or how slow you can do it. So, you know, you can go through it within, I think, 2-3 years, depending on what exemptions you have or not, or you can take as long as you want. You can do 3 exams at a time, 1 at a time. It's up to you, really. So.
And do you have friends around you that are doing the same course? I mean, is there sort of a network of CIMA candidates? Yes,
there is, definitely. At Merrill Lynch, we've got quite a good network of CIMA candidates who we do it. So we do it together, and, you know, we'll study together, study groups. And I just come over off a rotational programme at Merrill Lynch that aims specifically at people who are junior managers who are looking to go into a junior management position, and then they're combining that with their studies. So it definitely builds a support network as well with the people you're working with.
That's really nice. You're not the only one that's having to go through it.
No.
Okay. And David, what sort of qualities are you looking for in candidates? I mean, you must get a lot of CVs and applications from candidates. What's going to make people stand out?
I mean, there's a couple of things. I mean, clearly the academic results are important.
Yeah.
You know, we're looking for people who are going to get usually first-time passes through the exams.
Right.
But a lot of it's around the personality and around, you know, a company like Ford. It's a very diverse company. You can have people from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life. It's not just about having a set type of person. We've actually got a theme that we've got called One Ford, which is Alan Mullally has put out. And it's all about aligning people around having one team, one objective, one goal. And I think people can contribute in many different ways to that. You know, whether it's, you know, there's a set of core competencies you expect from finance, like integrity, technical competence. Yeah. But there's also the softer people skills that are very important, how you work in a team, things like that. And I think one of the things that having a large scheme in Ford helps us do is with the continuous professional development. It's not just about being up to date with the latest standards. We can help out with those softer skills as well. Yeah. So it's a broad career development, not just a pure finance piece.
Okay. We've got an interesting question from Maureen in, and she says, I see so many graduates leaving university but struggling to find work. I'm wondering whether I should insist my son spends 3 years getting a piece of paper that may not necessarily help him. What are your thoughts, Lindsay? Do you have friends that didn't do...
I do have some friends who didn't do degrees, and I think really it all depends on the person of whether you want to do it. But it is a life experience going to university. You know, you definitely mature and you grow up, and, you know, there is a fun side to it as well as the studying and things like that. So I think you do have a life experience going to university. But similarly, though, you know, you can go in straight into work and do a similar role, like Dave was saying about, you know, you can do CIMA. You don't have to have gone to university and then do CIMA. You can do CIMA, you know, once you've got your A levels. So I think it all depends on the person, but
it's personal choice.
I think it is, but it is a life experience as well.
I would agree with that, I have to say, but that's because I went to university. I mean, if you didn't go, you're getting your earnings quicker, aren't you, Dave? What would you say?
That's one aspect of it, but it is definitely a personal choice. You know, some people maybe, the question about the confidence to start with, they may not feel that they're comfortable going off living away from home initially. You know, with Ford we are able to offer them a route in that gives them some of that experience. They're still mixed with some of the people who have been to university, and it's quite a large group that we bring in. So you get a different type of social interaction there.
Yeah.
And as you said about Merrill Lynch, you know, the interaction and the way the students work together, that's another network that you've got. The students actually form part of our steering committee, so each of the level of study is represented on our steering committee and works with the management of Ford to define how we can improve the scheme that we run. So, you know, they're heavily involved from day one.
So it's personal choice then, really, isn't
Yeah.
it? You know, it depends how desperately you want to go. And also, you're influenced a lot by your friends, I think, as well, what they're doing, aren't you? And I don't know, it depends how much you like your hometown, I guess. Now, Rosie wants to know, I'm really worried that when I choose my degree, I'll be stuck to one career path and I don't feel ready to commit my life to one profession. What advice would you have for me? That's quite a difficult one, isn't it, Dave? What would you say to that?
Well, I actually studied aeronautical engineering, so I did change career path. And I think the experience of studying at university does bring a certain skill set. It doesn't necessarily have to be a finance degree that we take people on with Ford, for example.
Yeah.
You can get some exemptions, but you know, you can also do the whole course and it doesn't hold you back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I made that choice sort of in my final year at university. I was looking at things that I enjoyed doing personally, and it was more the interaction, project management role that you get through being a business partner in finance. And working in an engineering company like Ford let me have the way in there, saying, well, the engineers will talk to the finance person and respect them, because they know they understand some of the principles they're talking about.
That's a good point. What would you say to that, Lindsay? I mean, you went in and did your business and economics course, and didn't necessarily know that you were going to go into finance.
Yeah, but I don't think I was thinking of what career I was going to go into once I finished university. I think I was doing economics A-level and as well as doing maths, and I quite enjoyed it, so I thought, you know, to go and do that at university. So I don't think it really helps or hinders you in either way with what course you do at university to what you want to do as your career. I think it's just something that you have an interest in.
Yeah, something you enjoy. I think that's a really good tip, actually, isn't it? Do something you enjoy, because you're going to be there for 3 years, so you might as well enjoy it.
Yeah.
Now, we're almost out of time, actually, but before we go, Lindsay, best advice you've been given, worst advice you've been given, do you think, career-wise?
I heard a good thing the other day, actually. Someone said that your career is not a destination, it's a journey. So, you know, with the thing that, you know, it's something that you build on and you get experience in different things, and then you build and build and build. It's not just an end point. I always have trouble when people ask me, where do you want to be in 5 years' time? I don't really know, because, you know, it's wherever things take me. So I think that's the best bit of advice I've been given.
Keep an open mind and enjoy it as you go along.
Definitely.
Yeah, okay. Dave, it's a difficult question, isn't it?
I think a similar one. I mean, the one people always say to me is the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So keep on moving, but don't sort of preempt your career too much. I mean, when I left university, I didn't speak a language. I've since spent 6 years in Germany, and I'm fluent in German now.
Wow.
I didn't even get a German O-level. So
you just don't know where things are going.
You don't know where things are going. I've spent 6 years living abroad in total. Had a great career with Ford, and you know, didn't know I expected that when I left university. You know, maybe I was thinking 3-4 years down the road once I got my SEMA qualification. But beyond that, things always come up and give you little surprises. Usually good.
Yeah, that's good. And just finally, top tips for students or parents worrying about careers, maybe thinking about a career in finance.
Well, I think if you enjoy it, do it. You know, and the thing is, with a career, you can always change and you can always do different things. So, you know, and if you're looking to go to university, do something that you enjoy, like we said, because you are there for 3 years. So, you know, just enjoy it really. You can always change what you want to do.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing's set in stone, is it?
No.
Okay, Dave, top tips.
I think do a bit of research, you know, and make sure that the company you go and work for is a company that you can see yourself moving forward in. It's not one size fits all out there, but I think it's important that you do feel very comfortable. It's like, you know, walking and buying a new home. You generally know buying a house how you feel when you move. You feel very comfortable with a company, and there's a lot of companies offering a lot of schemes out there. Get one that fits you.
Okay. Good advice there, and thanks so much for coming in, Dave and Lindsay. Thanks so much. So, if you want any more information about the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, you can go to the website, which is www.cemaglobal.com, and there's lots of top tips on how to get into finance. And if you're heading into your A-levels, heading into your exams, then best of luck. And you never know, you might end up with a future in finance. Well, that's it from the Education Show for today. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.